Hump Day Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN FM, the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. We are keeping an eye on the Philadelphia Phillies after their win last night after the trade deadline. Plus, we will touch on the Eagles at training camp as we are officially 1 day away from the start of football. I know it's only preseason tomorrow night, but I'm excited. We got football back here on 97.3 ESPN tomorrow night at 7:30 p.m. The Hall of Fame game will be on the radio and on the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. So we will get to a bunch of different things with the Eagles and the Phillies today, this hour. You can chime in and join the conversation at 609-403-0973. You also can DM the show through the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Dave Weinberg is back for a Weinberg Wednesday coming up in roughly about 12 minutes from now. Dave will join us a little bit earlier than usual tonight. Let's hit on both points of reference before we get to Dave. Number one, just because the Phillies won last night doesn't really change how I feel about the Phillies' lack of activity at the deadline. I think that what's interesting about last night's game was that last night's game felt in many ways a vindication for Dave Dombrowski, because Dombrowski's primary position coming out of the deadline was that they were not going to give up too much to get what was needed. This is what Dave Dombrowski said yesterday on NBC Sports Philadelphia when he was asked about why the Phillies didn't acquire a right-handed outfield bat.
We have some good offensive names, and we like their ability. It's just now we have to go out and do it, and it showed we have confidence in them that they're going to do it. And so, to me, when you looked at who was available there at the price we would have to pay, and again, very few guys moved. I mean, basically anybody could be traded. We really kept coming down to that. The offensive improvement we feel we'll get from within will be good for us. That will help us more than what we would have given from outside to get some outside help.
That's the Phillies' position. The Phillies' position is that there was nobody worth giving up what they have in the minor league system for. Now, look, whether we agree with it or not, that's the Phillies' position. They feel like that moving forward with guys like Rojas and eventually Pache whenever he returns from his injury, that those guys are good enough right-handed bats to offset the left-handed heavy lineup. Now, of course, a night like tonight is an abnormal night for the Phillies because no GT Realmuto, so you're forced to play Stubbs against a left-handed pitcher, okay? It's a non-ideal situation, and I'm not going to sit here and say that what we're seeing tonight is going to be a normal lineup. But what I will say is this. If the Phillies feel so strongly, so intensely that the guys they have are good enough, then last night's game was a bold affirmation of Dave Dombrowski's position. Because last night, Nick Castellanos, that home run was a clear moment to say, hey, we got the guys. We got the bats. We got the players. They win the last two games against the Marlins, a Marlins team that made some significant moves at the deadline, adding Josh Bell, adding Dave Robertson a few days before that, and others. They made some significant moves at the deadline to try to get better. They are fighting for a wild card spot just like the Phillies are. And what the Phillies have done in the last two games is they've outplayed them, basically. Alec Boehm was one of the league leaders in RBI this year. He came through, him and Stott in the first game. And Rojas as well. Rojas is a big double in the first game. The second game last night, you saw Castellanos, that home run felt like a huge potential momentum swing. And the Phillies basically survived the game. I told you guys last night the Phillies Marlins was not going to be a high scoring game with the way Alcantara had been pitching in recent weeks and with Ranger Suarez being on the mound against depleted Marlins offense, basically. Well, Alcantara went 8 innings, and you felt like, okay, maybe you got a chance now that he's finally out of the game. Ranger basically survived all night. I mean, he went, what was it, 6 1/3, 6 2/3 innings, and he gave up 10 hits last night. It was absolutely ridiculous. But they survived last night, and now they have 2 straight games where they win close affairs. It's not an ideal way to win baseball. But as Dominic Toretto said, it doesn't matter if you win by an inch or a mile, winning is winning. And right now, the Phillies are finding ways to win against a team that is going to be the last potential postseason team that they face until August 11th. Because after this series with the Marlins, you got the Royals for 3 games, the Nationals for 4 games. So this is an opportunity to really separate yourself from Miami and put yourself forward in an opportunity to maybe win some games with this new 6-man rotation that is basically, for lack of a better term, is basically going to be the difference for this team. Because they feel like if they can spread out their pitching staff, that is going to be a win. And you know what? Maybe the Phillies just get to be the old school baseball team. Maybe the Phillies just have to be that old school ball club that says, you know what? Pitching, defense, base hits, a home run here or there, that's going to win us ball games. This team is just not going to mash their way through a lot of games for the rest of the year. Unless somebody heats up, and I said this last night here on 97.3 ESPN, Josh hanging out with you on a Wednesday. I said last night at the deadline, unless this team gets ridiculously hot and just goes scorched earth for the rest of the season in terms of hitting home runs and scoring runs, they're probably not going to be one of the best teams in the National League. Now, I still believe that if you asked me who are the best teams in the National League, as I've said multiple times, if the Braves are 1 and the Dodgers are 2, because the Dodgers made significant moves before the deadline, the Phillies have the argument still to be 3. I don't think the Giants did enough to really improve their ball club and their offense. The team with even less home runs and offensive firepower than the Phillies is definitely the Giants. I think most people in their right mind would say the Phillies rotation is better than the Giants. The Diamondbacks definitely got better, but we need to see if their pitching staff beyond Gallen and Kelly can hold up. Kelly and Gallen have been good for most of the year, but beyond those 2 guys, their pitching staff doesn't have the same pedigree that the Phillies do. Padres, who knows what they really are at this point? I mean, the Padres are hoping they're going to be competitive down the stretch. Good luck. We're all counting on you for that. And then the Brewers and Reds are fighting for the division, and the Brewers got better, but not significantly better. And the Reds probably should have made more moves to improve their pitching staff, but they made some marginal moves. So even with all of the frustrations that we have as Phillies fans, the Phillies are still arguably the 3rd best team in the National League, but being the 3rd best team in the National League doesn't mean you're actually going to win the National League. But we'll see if guys like Turner, Castellanos, Real Muto, and Schwarber can have a good August and September to catapult them into the postseason. We'll get to more of your texts a little bit later in the hour, 609-403-0973. That is the text board. You also can DM the show through the 973 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. Andrew in Summers Point. We'll get to more of your texts a little bit later. But coming up next, Dave Weinberg for this week's edition of Weinberg Wednesday is next on 973 ESPN.
You haven't downloaded the 97.3 ESPN free mobile app? Well, go get it now to follow all the Philly sports teams at 97.3ESPN.com. Powered by First Bank of Sea Isle City.
Sail into summer in New Jersey. Stroll boardwalks or soar high on the rides. Enjoy iconic shores, history, and culture. From dazzling cities to charming countryside. Find it all at visitnj.org.
Keeping your kids safe is a full-time job. Whether it's putting on outlet covers, installing child gates, or gluing down your priceless vase. So Duracell made one part of childproofing simple. Our lithium coin batteries are the only ones coated in a non-toxic bitterant to help discourage swallowing. Your kid is safer, and you've got one less thing to worry about. Or glue down. Duracell, engineered for more. Available in 2032, 2025, and 2016 sizes.
Welcome back to Total Wine.
Hey, Ruthie, I need help filling the ultimate beach cooler.
Well, we have the most hard seltzers and amazing canned cocktails anywhere, and at the lowest prices in town. Always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine and More. Drink responsibly, be 21.
Get fast, reliable Xfinity Internet, and now you can add a whole new way to watch the entertainment you love. Introducing Now TV, the best value in live TV and streaming, just $20 a month. Get over 40 live channels. Plus, watch movies, shows, and live sports with Peacock Premium, a $5.99 a month value, included at no extra cost. Start watching thousands of hours of content in minutes. So whether you're an action junkie, a sports buff, or a romance fanatic, you can stream all the entertainment you love, all on the network made for streaming. Now through September 21st, get the best value in live TV and streaming, all on the best network. Switch to Xfinity Internet for $25 a month for 12 months and add Now TV with Peacock Premium included for just $20 a month. Call, click, or visit a store to switch today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Now TV requires Xfinity Internet. Internet equipment, taxes, and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply to internet service. Actual speeds vary.
Staples has big savings on everything you need for back to school or stocking up the office. Save on signs, banners, and posters from Staples Print and Marketing Services. Save on everything you need for travel, like luggage, tech, and travel-size personal items. Plus, save on all your school essentials, from notebooks to markers. Now at Staples, you can save even more with $25 back in rewards on your in-store purchase of $75 or more. Get everything for the office and the classroom for less at Staples. Ends 8/5. Redeemable in-store only. Rewards members only.
Bobby, did we get that shipment of mesquite?
Jim's woodworking shop worked fine
Good fit on those Japanese corners.
until half his staff retired.
Wow, those cuts are neat. I'm really going to miss your precision.
He needs 4 skilled woodworker bees ASAP.
All right, this jigsaw needs a new blade.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
As a dentist, I know what my patients are saying. She says her gums have been bleeding. Is there anything you can do? Try New Crest Gum Detoxify and Restore. It's professionally designed to start healing gums from day one.
Crest. Go shorty, it's our birthday. We gonna party like it's our birthday. Go to Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City this summer for our 5th birthday celebration. Go for the parties and the payouts. Go for the dining and the unwinding. Go for the memories that will last a lifetime. Go for the win at Ocean Casino Resort in Atlantic City all summer long. For the full birthday, visit the Ocean AC.
Listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Let's continue the Phillies and Eagles conversation now. Each week we talk with Dave Weinberg, 97.3 ESPN.com sports columnist. Joins us each week for Weinberg Wednesdays here on 97.3 ESPN as the Eagles continue training camp. Phillies post-deadline. Let's touch on. Dave is back with us here on a Wednesday edition of Game Night on 97.3 ESPN, and he joins us on the Elite Acura hotline. Dave, welcome back in. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Josh. How are you?
Doing pretty good. So what was Dave Weinberg's reaction after the deadline with the Phillies yesterday?
Excited for them. They made a good move, picking up another arm, which I think is going to help them in the stretch run. I mean, the more pitching you can have, the better off you are, and getting an all-star, even adds to that. I mean, it seems like they have a pretty deep rotation as it is, but to add one more, I think is a really good move for them without giving up much, really.
Did you feel a little bit like they could have done more at all? But did you look at it as, you know what, you should be able to win with what you got? These guys need to step up.
Yeah, I'm probably in the latter group there. Yeah, I think they have enough talent to win with what they have. It's just a matter of them getting a little more consistent. Not sliding after they get a couple wins and they lose a couple. They go into a slump. If they can just stay the course, get a little more consistent, more even keel, a little more try to avoid the slumps that have been happening lately. I think, well, not lately, but last week, I guess. I think they'll be in pretty good shape. They're obviously not winning the East, but they're in pretty good shape in the wild card. So it's going to come down to whoever can stay hot or get hot at that, down the stretch.
Now, Dave, I know that you love baseball, but you also love baseball as it used to be as well. So how do you feel about the idea of the Phillies having a 6-man rotation?
I'll take that over that stupid spot start stuff, whatever they do. I don't know what you call it. Opener.
Yeah, the opener. Yeah.
Yeah, that drives me crazy. And you might have seen it on Twitter today how I was kind of ranting a little bit about those stupid base running mittens that everybody wears. I don't remember,
mitts, man. The oven mitts.
I said I got a whole drawer for them. My wife used to use. I don't. And you got to pay $100. I looked it up today, and there's $100 for 2 of them. That's ridiculous. And
it's funny though, because the hand that the glove wasn't on for Realmuto was the one that he cut open, and that's why he hasn't played for the last 2 days.
Right.
It's like, come on, I'm with Ruben Amaro. If you're that worried about your hands, just leave the batting gloves on.
Right. Or slide feet first, like they did for 100 years before, the head first slide became, in vogue. Yeah. Anyway, to get back to your point, yeah, the 6-man rotation is better than what they were doing. Like I said, the opener thing and the bullpen game, I never understood that. So if you could have another starter, then go ahead. I don't know why. They used to use just 4 guys, right? Now it's 5. Now it's 6. I guess that's okay. But
if you go back to the 1910s, they used 3, and then 4 became the thing.
Yeah,
probably around, I want to say after World War II. I have to double check exactly on Baseball Reference, but I feel like it was after World War II that the 4-man rotation really became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it was that way probably until, I want to say, the 80s, because I
at least that, yeah.
I remember teams like the Tigers and the Cardinals having 5-man rotations.
I was in high school in the 70s and in college also, and I just remember 4-man rotations. It's probably way before your time, but the Orioles actually had 4 20-game winners in a single season. I believe it was 1969, maybe. I know the 4, but I won't bore you with it. But anyway, yeah.
I know one's got to be Jim Palmer, right?
Correct. Dave McNally, Mike Cuellar, and Pat Dobson were the other ones.
Pat Dobson, okay.
Nobody ever remembers him. But yeah, now you don't even get 1 most of the time, right?
Well, right now, Taijuan Walker's one of the league leaders in wins. He might get 20 for all we know at this rate.
That's right. He's got 12, right? Woo.
He's got 12. All he's got to do is have the Phillies win 8 more of his starts this year. that's doable, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely, right. just go 5 innings and let your bullpen take over from there, and you got another
5 innings. I want you to go 6 innings. Come on, man.
That might be stretching it. You can't.
Come on,
throw
Dave.
You're
in a 6-man rotation. You got an extra day off.
Yeah, right. That's true.
By the way, I laugh at the stat that says that Aaron Nola actually has a better ERA on 6 days rest than 5 days rest.
Oh, stop it.
And I'm just thinking about that. I'm like, what is the sample size of that? 5 times? Times he really had 6 days instead of 5 days off. You know what I mean?
That's ridiculous. My goodness.
So we'll list it like this. So Dave Weinberg's biggest problems with baseball are the bullpen game, the oven mitt, and then what would be after that? Is it
Oh boy, I don't know.
Is it the runner on second base in
Yeah,
extra innings?
for extra innings. Yep, absolutely. Yep, that's another stupid rule which I don't understand.
Now, how do you feel about the pitch clock? Are you like, are
I
you
like
good with
that.
it? Okay.
No, I am. Yeah. I love the fact that they're speeding up the games. I think I've told you before. Like, my grandsons, I took them to a couple games, last year and the year before, and they were good till about the sixth inning, maybe, because it was
Mhm.
already 2.5, 3 hours into it, and they were about done. Now they can sit and watch a whole game and not be, bored to tears. So yeah, I mean, and the game moves at a much faster pace. It took me a little while to get used to it a little bit, but as it did the players, obviously. But yeah, I'm totally in favor of that.
See, I'm a huge fan of the pitch clock. Um, I'm indifferent about the rotation because to me, whatever wins, I don't care. I'm a big believer in just
Okay.
win the game. I don't care if you need 4 men, 5 men, 6 men, whatever. To me,
Okay.
I just want you to win. I'm with you. I think the oven mitt is stupid. It looks ridiculous. Like
I
I said,
haven't been. Do the high school teams use these? Do you know?
supposedly people are doing. I've seen people do it. It's like the College World Series. So I don't know how low it goes. I mean, I didn't watch a high school baseball game this past year, so I don't
No,
know.
I didn't either, but I
I
hope
don't.
not.
Maybe I need to get myself out to a high school baseball game next spring just to like walk around and be like, all right, does anybody have the oven mitts?
I'll bring some with me from home. They can use them if they want.
I'm telling you, when I played baseball, we would keep the batting gloves on our hands.
Yeah, it makes sense.
For that reason. And then
Yep.
we would take the batting gloves off when we would go in the dugout and we put our, fielding glove on and go out in the field. That's how we did it. I don't understand why you got to get some special, hand mitt, to protect your hand. I don't get it.
Yeah, me either. I don't either.
But what do I know? I never played in the major league, so.
You and me both.
Yeah. Dave Weinberg joined us for a Weinberg Wednesday here on 97.3 ESPN at Dave Weinberg 19 extra point columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. So Dave, moving forward, if the Phillies move forward with the team as is, are you thinking of them as what is their potential? Like what is your expectation for the rest of the season?
Wild card contenders, definitely. And as they proved last year, I mean, once you get into the playoffs, anything can really happen. I know it's a cliche, but it's really true, especially in baseball. I mean, if you have a 6-man rotation, it gets out at the right time, right? And I mean, the Braves obviously are the clear cut favorites to win the NL, but you never know. And I think so. I'm expecting them to be among the wild card teams that get in, and after that, I'm not real sure, but I do expect at least that much from them. I think they'll be in the postseason. I expect them to be anyway.
I mean, I think they're a playoff team. I just don't know if, as constructed, they are going to get back to the World Series.
Absolutely. Yeah, I'm with you there. Yeah,
I said it before you came on. I've been holding this position for 2 weeks now that I think the Braves are the best team, and I think the Dodgers are number 2 in the National League.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to tell me the Phillies are 3, I think you can make that argument. But the problem is, I think there's a gap between the Phillies and the other 2 above them.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yep. Just curious, what did you think of the Astros getting Verlander back? Does that make them the favorites in the American League again?
Honestly, I thought it was hilarious because
really,
literally the Mets told the Astros, take Verlander, we'll pay for his salary and give us 2 of your best prospects. My reaction was, I thought it was funny because it's like, the Astros made a move before earlier in the day. They add to the bullpen. I thought that was way more significant than a Verlander who's 40, turning 41 years old, being paid $43 million, and about $40 million of that 43 is being paid by the Mets, for goodness sake.
Right. I think it'll be hysterical if like the Rangers and the Astros get to the ALCS and it's Scherzer against Verlander.
Oh my goodness. Yes. Sign me up for that. 40-year-old versus 30. I mean, that's got to be the old. I mean, I don't know if that's the oldest matchup ever of like starting pitchers or something in like a postseason, but it's got to
be up there. Yeah.
Got to be on a list. Like, I'm thinking back in my mind. Like, I know Dave Steve with the Blue Jays pitched until he was like in his 40s. So like, did maybe Steve ever pitch against like Jack Morris with the Twins or something? Like, that's the only thing I can think off the top of my head.
David Price was pretty old too, wasn't he? At one point, I don't know if he ever. When
I don't know. He wasn't really starting at the end of his career, though. He started coming out of the bullpen at the end.
Right.
I mean, the only other guy I can think of, did Jamie Moyer ever go against anybody old in the postseason?
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, too. Yeah.
Moyer was like 44, 45 years old, right?
Yep. He sure was. Oh, can you explain to me the Gene Segura thing? I don't get why did the Guardians get him and then cut him before they? Is it to save money for next year somehow?
It's a salary dump, like in the NBA or the NFL. It's like, you trade a guy to get him off your books, and then the other team gets rid of him so they don't have to pay him anything.
Who doesn't have to pay him anything?
Cleveland.
Well, they got to pay him this year, though, right?
From what I understand, that he had a non-guaranteed salary.
Okay, all right. Do you think the Phillies should get him?
No.
No, I didn't think so either. I'm with you there.
To me, if you were going to pick up a guy, you should have done it at the trade deadline. Segura's having a bad year. So
yeah, he's sitting like 220 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, he's playing horrible. He was so bad the Marlins didn't want him.
That's true, and they were right in the thick of it too. Yep.
The Marlins and the Giants have two of the worst offenses in the National League, and they're both in the playoff hunt. And the Phillies have a better offense of both of them, and the Phillies are missing 30 home runs from Rhys Hoskins this year. Like, it just shows you how strange the National League is.
Yeah, very true. Yep.
Dave, I want to ask you to transition over to the Eagles. We didn't get a chance to talk Eagles at all last week. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry I didn't get my green jersey yet, but I'm working on it.
That's fine. I'm not gonna hold it. I love, though. I gotta give credit to Herm Edwards. He was arguing on television today that he thinks the gang green uniforms are better than the Kelly green uniforms. So
really, okay,
yeah.
Interesting.
So I don't know how Eagle fans are gonna feel about that, because I feel like Eagle fans have been fighting for like the Kelly green uniforms for like 20 some years now. And then you got a former Eagle on television saying that gang green was better.
Well, Kelly green, they're wearing them for 2 games. What's the big deal? I don't understand.
People like new stuff. It's like people like getting gifts for Christmas.
You had to camp out overnight for it, though?
Yeah.
Really? For a jersey? Really?
Hey, people used to camp out for video games, and back in, when I was in high school and college. And,
right. Okay.
I knew people who would tell me, like, oh, I got to camp out to get the new video game. And I'm like, why?
No, I'm going to camp out for oven mitts next time.
Oven mitts, yeah. You camp out for the oven mitts. Well, here's the thing. They probably still sell oven mitts. They don't really sell video games in stores as much anymore. You can buy half the stuff online. So
that's true. Yep.
I know back in the day, it used to be you would camp out for like concert tickets.
That I can understand somewhat. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I know a lot of those Swifties were all about Taylor Swift.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah, they were camping out for days. But to me, the only thing I would ever camp out for is one day, and this is completely off topic, so I'll just hit on it and then we'll move on.
Mm-hmm.
I want to go down to one of those like SEC rivalry games where like people camp out for like 3-4 days and like get like trailer parks like living outside the stadium. And like they have like an entire like mini community leading up to the rivalry game. And it's like people have been living in their RVs for like 3-4 days.
Yeah. Go like LSU or Ole Miss or Alabama.
Yeah, or like for example, like the Egg Bowl. They literally have like a mini flea market leading up to the game. Like that's if I'm gonna camp out for something, that's what I want to be involved. I want to be in the middle of like a bunch of crazed, passionate fans who are so in love with their team that some of them have like the worst tickets in the world for the game, right? Like the upper, but they're living outside the stadium waiting for that 12 o'clock kickoff.
Yeah, that actually would be pretty cool. I know that there's a lot of people like in our area that don't really get it. The college football thing, they didn't grow up on it. They're all either Penn State or what have you. They don't really get the SEC or the Big Ten kind of fanatical, but those people are like what NFL fans are like here. They live and die with their team. They grew up with it. They worship them, and I think that would be really cool to experience.
Yeah, that's the only camping. That's the only camp out that I would do before something. But back to the birds. Let's get it back to the birds.
Sure.
So, Dave, first of all, let's start with this. I promised George from Summers Point that I would ask you this question because he texted in previously.
Hello, George. Yep.
George loves to listen to the station, and he texted in previously and asked, if I could ask you,
Sure.
what were your favorite stories or memories from covering Eagles training camp?
Oh my goodness. Oh wow. Uh, uh, I think we probably talked about this before. I mean, there were like 27 training camps for me. So some at Westchester, some at Lehigh, some there. I remember in 2000. This is going to sound really weird, but I remember in 2004 when they signed To but they also signed Javon Curse,
right,
the freak. So I'm standing on the sideline, and it was it was a blazing hot day at Lehigh. I mean, brutally hot, and it was like 2 practices, and they were full pads, and Curse was like he was standing like right next to me, and he was like sweating his butt off, and he wound up losing his breakfast like right in front of me. So he turns to me and he goes, "How you like them eggs?" And then he ran back onto the field. But yeah, I mean, there's so many like Mamola with the strip club thing, and Juquay Parker and Todd Herman's getting arrested, and but on the field there was a lot. I mean, the To thing is what really like stood out to me as far as the most famous one, really. When Andy Reid he missed a wide receiver autograph session. Andy Reid banishes him for a week. He goes back to his house in Moorestown, and he's doing sit-ups in his driveway, and there's news helicopters hovering over his house, and that whole season was just so bizarre. But the training camp especially, because he had it in his mind from the get-go that he was not going to be a good teammate, and Hugh Douglas and him got into it a little bit, and he blamed Donovan McNabb for everything. I don't know why. That was the next year. I'm sorry, that was 2005.
Right.
Yeah, 4 4 was crazy because there was just I've never seen that many fans at a training camp before. I mean, they just with Curse and To and everybody, they just the so-called though it wasn't the dream team, but they had a bunch of stars, and everybody was just flocking. Thousands and thousands of people talk about camping out. A lot of guys did that. A lot of people did that at Lehigh, and that was really special. There's so many of them, Josh. It's not the same anymore though now, because they're at the Novacare Novacare complex, and access is very limited. You don't really get to watch anything. They don't really do anything anymore. There's no 2-a-day practices. There's no hitting for an hour. No fights. And that's the kind of stuff that made training camp really colorful and really fun to cover. And that's not the case anymore. But I mean, every training camp was fun back then. I hope that answers George's question.
No, I think it does. To me, my favorite thing about training camp is always the guy who the fans start freaking out about. And they all want the guy to make the team, and he's going to be the greatest. And I mean,
there's always one.
There's always at least one. One.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's multiple guys, and in the age of Hard Knocks, there's like 5 of them every Hard Knocks season.
Yep.
So I know for me the one that got me off of the I'm getting excited over training camp guy was. And after he didn't work out for the Eagles, I never became this guy looked great in the preseason or training camp ever. I never believed it ever again. Was in the late 90s, there was a guy named Dietrich Gels.
I remember.
And I remember watching him in those preseason games. And I was like, I mean, the dude was so fast. He was just blowing by people. And
it's wide receiver, right? Yeah.
Yeah, he was a wide receiver. And
yeah, I remember him.
I was young enough to not fully understand that, like, when you're a really good athlete playing against not so good football players, you look really good. But when you play against real football players, you are not good just because you're a good athlete. And he was he was the first and last time that I got excited about a guy who like performed great in the preseason or training camp, because I felt so ridiculous. But it was funny that years later, I actually ran into somebody who bought themselves a Dietrich Gels jersey.
I hope they didn't camp out for it. I gotta say, one of my favorite training camps was 1995. It was Ray Rose's first year.
Oh yeah,
and going from coat tight to him was just like night and day. He was
Culture shock.
Oh, very colorful, very blue language. Had brought in a bunch of like it was loaded with veterans like Bill Romanowski and Kurt Govea and guys who had like huge players, but were also like huge personalities. So it was always, you were never lacking for stories. Somebody was always going to, do something that they got your attention and fill up your notebook for a day. It was so much fun covering that team, and they wound up going to the playoffs and beating the Lions and beating the pants off the Lions. And then, but that year there was a local guy who I'm not going to mention because I don't want to, get him in trouble or anything, but he was as a rookie linebacker, and he got upset over a lack of playing time or something. He wound up leaving camp, and everybody made it a big deal. But the new linebackers coach, Joe Vitt, was like, he had Romanowski and Govea, and William Thomas. He had guys that, he wasn't really concerned about an 8-string guy who might make the practice squad or special teams. And he flipped his lid one day. I can't believe I'm talking about this guy. Let him leave. I don't care. And there was always something like that. Every day was like a new adventure. It was really fun.
That is funny. Let's get to this year's Eagles, Dave. I want to ask you before I let you go, of the position battles, which one are you most intrigued or interested by?
There aren't really many, are there?
There's 3.
Okay, right guard, I guess, right?
Right guard, safety, running back.
Okay, the one that most intrigues me is running back, I guess. With Swift and Perry there. Both of them are going to get plenty of playing time, no doubt. But I'm interested to see who emerges as the starter, and if they decide to use one of those guys who's like the every down back. I guess they won't nowadays. You got that Gainwell and Boston Scott too. So, but I would think like the battle there is going to be pretty interesting to see which guy like emerges as the top dog. Safety, they really need 2 guys to I'm kind of intrigued with Sidney Brown, the rookie. I think I'm looking to see what he can do. And I'm guessing Cam Jurgens is the guy at guard. I don't know if Steen can beat him out, but I would doubt it.
See, I'm so conflicted on the right guard because to me, I would actually put Jack Driscoll out there and tell him, it's your job to lose, basically. But for whatever reason, they feel it's more important to have him as the swing guy, as backing up than going for the starting job. And because my concern about Jurgens is that his size, he's not the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
And one of the things that helped Kelsey, not that Kelsey isn't a future Hall of Famer, but to me, what helped Kelsey evolve from what he was early in his career to later was when you put that monster Brandon Brooks next to him that kind of helped protect him a little bit. And Isaac Seumalo wasn't a small man either.
No,
so,
that's true. Yeah.
Typically, Jason has had some big boys, like Steven Wisniewski and guys like that next to him. And right now he's going to have Landon Dickerson, who's a monster of a man on the one side.
Yeah.
So I was talking with Ross Turk a couple weeks ago. Ross said, he said, you don't understand that Landon Dickerson and Jordan Mailata are 2 of the most monster human beings I've ever seen in my life. So you got these 2 monsters next to Kelsey on the one side, and they got Jurgens on the other side, and it's just like this huge drop off in size. And I'm just concerned that if a team decides, hey, we're just gonna bull rush Kelsey and Jurgens for a game, that Hurts is gonna be running for his life.
Right. I gotcha. Well, is Driscoll big enough to matter? I don't know.
Driscoll's bigger than Jurgens. I think he's at least 2 inches taller and about probably at least 20 pounds heavier.
Oh, okay. All right. I guess that's a valid point. Yeah, they do so much with their offensive linemen, pulling and all that kind of stuff and trapping. I don't know if the size is that big a factor as it would be maybe in the previous era. But yeah, you're right. It does definitely help Kelsey to have 2 monsters on either side of him. That's for sure.
I think it's ridiculous that people want to start telling me right now that the size doesn't matter when it comes to the offensive line. But then the size does matter for a linebacker in an age where nobody runs the ball anymore. I just can't buy that.
I gotcha. Yeah, I'm with you there. Okay. I understand.
I'm trying to pull up.
I don't think size matters that much with linebacker anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually trying to pull up the measurables for these guys on the Eagles website, and I gotta tell you, these NFL websites are some of the worst. Let's see, Jurgens listed at 6'3", 300.
Oh yeah, that is kind of, that's actually, I know it's funny to say, but that is small for an offensive lineman.
Now I gotta find Driscoll because he's all the way the other end of the page. Driscoll is 6'5", so as I said, he's 2 inches taller, and he's listed at 315. So he's about 12 to 15 pounds heavier. So
okay, all right.
2 inches and about 12 to 15 pounds heavier.
What is Steen?
Steen is, I gotta scroll back up for him. Steen is 6'6", 321.
Well, there's your answer.
The problem is Steen has never played right guard in his life.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So it's like, but Jurgens has never played right guard either. So it's kind of like half a dozen in one hand to the other.
And Mailata never played left tackle or football for that matter at all. So look what he turned into. So here you go.
Well, you could argue Mailata might be the best athlete on the line. So
yeah. Oh, I don't know. I go Lane Johnson there.
You go Lane is the better athlete?
He's a quarterback, for Christ's sake. Yeah.
Well, he was a former quarterback. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, Mailata played rugby, so I mean, I don't know.
True. I guess they're both right there. Yeah.
I mean, I would say it's either one. Either one could be the best athlete. But then after those two, then it's Kelsey. Kelsey could be the third best.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah, Dickerson is just a big man, basically. So, yeah, you're 6'6" and 340. I just call you a big man. So,
yep. No argument there.
He's Dave Weinberg at Dave Weinberg 19 on Twitter. Extra Point Columns over at 97.3 ESPN.com. He'll be back next Wednesday as Weinberg Wednesday are the staple here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Dave, appreciate you jumping on. Enjoy yourself, and hopefully I'll catch up with you this weekend.
Oh, sounds good, Josh. Thanks as always. I appreciate it.
Josh Hennick here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. And my conversation with Dave Weinberg was thanks to the Elite Acura hotline. Visit Elite Acura during the summer, a performance event located on Route 73 North in Maple Shade, online at eliteacura.com. All right, Andrew in Summers Point, Jerry from Brigantine, Chad from the Villas. I got all your text messages to get to and more here on 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Sea Isle.
Hi, this is Billy Schwein from The Locker Room. Join me and former Chief of the Longport Beach Patrol, Dan Adams, and former Lieutenants of the Ocean City Beach Patrol, John McShane and Jack Brooks, this Friday for 97.3 ESPN's live coverage of the 2023 Margate Memorial Lifeguard Championships from the beach in Margate.
97.3 ESPN's live coverage of the 2023 Margate Memorial Lifeguard Races is brought to you by Leeds Builders of Margate, building beautiful homes by the sea for over 30 years. McCann Realtors of Sea Isle City. Experience the McCann difference. Family owned and operated since 1939. Blitz's Market, located at 21st and Asbury in Ocean City, voted Best Deli 7 years running, now serving freshly squeezed orange juice. And by the famous Dino's Subs and Pizza of Margate, open since 1964, located at 8016 Venter Avenue in Margate. Live coverage of the 2023 Margate Memorial Lifeguard Races this Friday at 6 p.m. on 97.3 ESPN.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
If you're currently stuck in a loan or lease, AJ the Trade Man can get you released. MattBlattNissan.com. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township.
Staples presents a lesson in back-to-school savings. Your local Staples now accepts Amazon returns. So when you return your Amazon order at Staples, you receive a coupon for $10 off your next $30 Staples purchase. So you can save even more on top of huge back-to-school deals. Like right now, 2 pocket poly folders and Staples 8-count number 2 pencils are each just 50 cents. Staples gives you more ways to save even more. 50-cent offers end 8/26. Pricing and limits may vary in-store and online. Amazon return offer in-store only. Exclusions apply.
Do the bump, do the hustle, do the funky chicken. But whatever you do, get down to Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Right now, get a 3-piece world-famous chicken meal White, dark, or chicken tenders with Western fries for just $6, with a portion of each chicken meal sale donated to local charities. Can you dig it? Plus, register to win world-famous chicken for a year. That's a 3-piece world-famous chicken meal with Western fries for only $6. Don't stop till you get enough. But hurry, Royal Farms Chicken Palooza is only for a limited time. So boogie on in for Royal Farms Chicken Palooza. Going on now, and it's just the way, you like it. Real fresh, real fast, Royal Farms. No purchase necessary to enter or win. Sweepstakes ends August 31st, 2023. Chicken for a year prize to be awarded is 8 $100 Royal Farms gift cards. For details and official rules, visit royalfarms.com/chicken-palooza-sweepstakes. Void where prohibited. Sponsored by Royal Farms.
At SimpliSafe, we've designed award-winning home security with advanced sensors, HD cameras, and now this 24/7 LiveGuard protection, only from SimpliSafe. Now, monitoring agents can see and speak to intruders through our new indoor camera to help stop crime in real time and for fast police response. Get 20% off any new system with Fast Protect monitoring at simplisafe.com/radio. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like SimpliSafe.
Hey, it's Mike Gill. Have you been to Trio North Wildwood yet? They're open every day except Tuesday, and there's a new Taste of Trio menu from 5 to 5:30 Sunday through Friday with an amazing 3-course meal for just $45 per person. Trio is chef-driven, BYOB, bridging the gap between bar food and fine dining. Try Trio North Wildwood with reservations on Resi, 700 New Jersey Avenue in North Wildwood. TrioNW.com.
Now your ideas don't have to wait. Now they have everything they need to come to life. Dell Technologies and Intel are creating technology that loves ideas, loves expanding your business, evolving your passions. We push what technology can do, so great ideas can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to Now.
Hey, this is Josh from 97.3 ESPN. If your air conditioning isn't keeping you cool, or if you're worried about sky-high electric bills, I recommend you call Jenkins Plumbing and Heating today about a new system from American Standard Heating and Air Conditioning or a Mitsubishi ductless system. Take advantage of financing of up to $15,000 from South Jersey Gas or Atlantic City Electric. New AC system can save you 25 to 35% on your AC bill. Call Jenkins at 609-641-6440, online at jenkinsandsons.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh.
Your messages right now, 609-403-0973. They're loaded up on the text board, ready to fire. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Wednesday night. Phillies game just started, by the way. So something happens when I get up here, I'll let you know. But right now it's just Wheeler versus Arias. So, and right now we'll see if the Phillies can get another win tonight. And then they got the 12-10 game tomorrow. Keep the time in mind for tomorrow's game. Andrew in Summers Point chimes in on the text board, says, that soundbite from Dombrowski is crud. Offense from within, then where the heck has it been all year? We've got the offense. We just need to go do it. We aren't good enough. Like you said yesterday, top 20 prospects could have been used to get some deals done. It's like they didn't even consider using prospects. That's Andrew from Summers Point. Well, Andrew, I'm going to agree and disagree with you, because I agree with you that it's a weird thing to say, hey, we have the players in the offense to do it, but then you haven't done it in half the year. It's hard to look at JT Realmuto and Trey Turner and say, hey, just because you've done it in your career doesn't automatically mean you're going to do it the rest of the season when you haven't done it at all this year. Now, look, if Trey Turner or JT Realmuto do get on a hot streak this month and next month, then I'll be pleasantly surprised. I'm with you there, Andrew, on the point. What I don't agree with you on is I do think they actually considered making deals. I think the problem was the players they were looking at were either the teams were asking for too much that they were willing to offer, like Adam Duvall for the Red Sox, or Teoscar Hernandez. I didn't even want Teoscar Hernandez. I had zero interest. I was interested in Adam Duvall. maybe for the Phillies, they said, look, if we're going to trade for someone of that caliber, if we're going to trade someone of the caliber of prospects that we have, we are not going to trade unless they are a certain tier. I think that's the problem. The Phillies value their prospects a lot, even though they don't have a great farm system. So I hear what you're saying, Andrew. It's kind of a catch-22. But I think Dombrowski has been trying to preach the idea of building a farm system. But then you have a chance to maybe upgrade the team. And it was just frustrating to see guys like Kike Hernandez get traded. And then you see the Dodgers, what they did, the Diamondbacks, the Marlins, do what they did. And it feels like you just didn't do much of anything except for the wins. Now, look, as I said earlier in the show, if the Phillies' position is we're just going to score by, small ball pitching and defense, if that's their calling card, then so be it. Like, I'm not against it. The Marlins, though, they just added Josh Bell to their lineup as he grounds out to the second baseman for an easy out. So, the Marlins' big new addition doesn't even get the RBI in that situation. But it'll be interesting to see what they do. But good text from Andrew Summers Point. Jerry in Brigantine says, hey, I appreciate your show. However, the Phillies have already gone out and gotten Harper, Schwarber, and Castellanos and Realmuto. There's not a whole lot more you can do. These guys have to start performing to their potential. It seems about clear, but I mean, enough is enough. In any event, thank you for the show. Jerry with a G from Brigantine. Well, Jerry with a G from Brigantine. Thanks for chiming in. Listen, I hear what you're saying, but the problem is, and I think Andrew Summers' point is kind of with me on this, if Castellanos and Realmuto and Turner and Schwarber have only given you a certain tier of production, I can't just hope that one day they're going to wake up and remember how to play baseball. This isn't for the love of the game where Kevin Costner's pitcher can sit there and just say, do the mechanism and get himself refocused, start pitching well again. This is the real world. It doesn't happen in sports. Chad from the Villa says they are wearing the oven mitts in Little League. That's embarrassing. I told you guys, whatever happened to, hey, I have batting gloves. I'll just keep the batting gloves on. Ridiculous. George Summers Point chimes in and says, hey, Josh, thanks for asking Dave that question about training camps. I really enjoyed his answer. I, too, missed the actual camps at Lehigh and Westchester because it always seemed to be something was going on outside the box every day. Go through the doldrums of summer to start until the start of the season. Yeah, George Summers Point, training camp back in the day was, they treated, I don't want to sound like a get off my lawn, but they treated football way differently, 20 years ago than they do now. Football for the first about, what would I say? The first 40 to 50 years of the NFL, football was treated very differently than it is today. The athlete today is treated more like the athlete today is treated more like somebody's purchase of a car or home, whereas back in the day, the athlete was treated like they are the garden in front of somebody's house. The idea is that, the strong survive. We just got to give you enough water and enough sunshine and enough tender loving care, and then you will prove who's the best and who's the worst. Today's world, it's, we got to put the right gasoline in the car, and we got to make sure the outside of the car looks clean, and we got to make sure we get the oil change every 5,000 miles. With the house, we got to clean the kitchen floor, we got to vacuum the rug, we got to make sure that, we do the maintenance to the water filter system. That's how the athlete's treated now. So I think that's part of the difference. Training camp used to be differently because the athlete was treated differently. Now the athlete is treated like a finely tuned machine. Thanks to all the texts. Thanks, Dave Weinberg. for joining the show. I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Catch you tomorrow.
Health Update with Robin Stoloff, empowering you to live a healthier life.
You take a shower, you wash your dishes. So where does that water go? Here to tell us is Matt Donofo, new president of the ACUA. Matt, you offer free tours throughout the summer to learn more about water treatment and our environment. Tell us about it.
We offer open houses all through the month of July and August, and you learn about where that water goes, how we treat it, and how we protect the environment. So on average, we treat about 20